We just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the stop. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. It's the history of literature again tonight. Yep, some great stuff lines up, and Anthony and myself will be talking about it. Sorry I'm late anyway, because I had my flu jab. Big flu jab I had. The needle was that big. They went, get it in. So anyway, I've had that. And I honestly, I just leant on the wall before. Just let kill me. It's paining already. No way. Because I got it in my left arm. And because I go to sleep on my right side, as you all know. Because I've told you, it's not that it used to be coming up, going to bed with me. So anyway, I've had that. It's good. And I just want to thank Gap Painting Services before we start for sponsoring all the pods that I do, every single one of them. The pods. And, I keep reiterating everything I'm saying, just repeating. Get these lads in. Don't struggle if you're going to decorate for Christmas especially. And if you've got wooden frames outside, don't get up ladders. Not in this weather. Get these lads in. And if you're an NHS worker, if you're an elderly couple, or you're a single elderly person, get them in because you get special discounts. Special discounts. You can't argue with that. And as I said, if you're not an elderly person, if you don't work for the NHS, just ask them for the price without any obligation, and you'll find out how reasonable they are. And it's not only that, because you get the lads in, they're fully insured. So if anything does go wrong, it's back in place. Anything at all. And they're fully time served. So they're not cowboys. They come in, do the job, leaving it fantastic the way you want it. The way you want it. So that's Gap Painting Services, the sponsors of every pod that Frank does. And I thank them very much because they are a great bunch of lads. And there I am again. Let's see what you lads will be saying here. The lovely Karen. Good evening, Frank, Anthony, and chat. Yes, I know you're saying a good event. It is going to be a good event tonight, Karen. But I know what you meant about good evening. And Johan, good evening, Frank and legends and chat. I hope everyone is well, like and subscribe. Thank you, Johan. Carol says, good evening, Frank and Anthony and chat. Good evening, Carol. Hope Steve's looking in as well. Her husband, that is. Great fella. Lovely fella. Lovely couple, actually. They really are. And going to bring this fella in, Anthony. And I'm just going to bring him in. I'm not going to say that he moans anymore, albeit he does, you know what I mean? So, but anyway, here he is. Don't say I told you that. Hey, Anthony.
Good evening, Frank. Good evening, Callum. Good evening, Johan. It is absolutely fantastic to have you with us and for me to be with you.
Now, how could you, just like ignore what he just said? And that goes from me as well. That goes from me as well.
Of course it does. You're the governor. You're driving the bus. Oh, but Frank, you would not believe where I've just been. I will tell you. I will tell you after a couple of.
Okay.
Up.
Callum says, "Who's this fella on my screen now?"
It's either you or me. If it's me. It's me.
I think it's both of us. And Johan, good evening, international artist, Mr. Brown. And there's 3 scotches for you.
Do you know what, Johan? I have been thinking of you. I tell you what, Mr. Kindness, thank you so much. I speak for my dear friend Frank. It's a joy to have you with us on whatever show.
Yes.
Literature and history.
He's a good lad.
Because I know nothing about football and current affairs. Well, I do, but
you'd rather stay quiet.
I don't fight.
You'd rather not call slot for it. He keeps quiet all about that. Oh. And George said, good evening, Frank Anthony. Hope you're both prospering. I've just had my flu jab, if that's prospering, to be honest, George.
That will stop you ailing. Hopefully I've got to go for mine and everyone else. But it'll put you off playing bowls and snooker for a couple of days.
Do you know what? That Francine took me up to, the market up in Anfield.
Yeah.
I was walking. It was killing me, It was really killing me. I was on my stick. And I could feel my chest tightening. And, my balance. And I was terrified because there was quite a few people there. And I was terrified in case anyone, bumped into me. Because you do, don't you? When you're getting past people.
Yeah.
And I was terrified of that.
Yeah.
Because if anyone would have bumped into me, I would have gone down. Because Francine always walks away. She's just like walking around. But anyway, I was scared of that.
Yeah.
And I was just glad that we got back in the car and came home, to be honest. I'm going to show you something, Anthony.
Good.
Remember when I said about the lovely lady, Jeanette Darlington, the friend of Ambidextrous.
And they're going to the show tonight, aren't they, at the Shakespeare?
Yeah, the Tempest, yeah.
Yeah.
At the Tempest. And here's what she brought me down. And it's lit up, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll turn my light off. You might be able to see it better. Just bear with me. And it's Shakespeare, look.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
It's shaky.
Absolutely beautiful.
There's his house.
Yeah.
There's the great man himself.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
Isn't that lovely?
You'd be proud on your table.
But yeah, it's. I put one of those, little lights that you could just click and they go on.
Yeah.
That's what I put it. I've got to put it. Absolutely brilliant. I made up with it, because she knows I love Shakespeare. It was a smashing little
Yeah.
surprise.
It is. What a wonderful gift.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So your market today, was it good?
It was
Nice.
indifferent for me. And as I said, as I was walking around, the backs of my knees were killing me. And my chest was tightening up. And I was scared in case I lost my balance. I was scared in case anyone, just bumped into me. Because I was just gone, That's how bad it is. And I said, looking at a variety of different things, and that's all. And I was just made up, as I said, to get back in the car and come home.
Yeah.
And Toscana, Buonasera, Franco and Anthony and anyone else. Looking forward to some literature tonight, learning more about these wonderful writers. Oh, great. Great.
Cool.
Toscana. And evening, Frank and Anthony, says Irene Evans.
Good evening, Irene.
And George is Anthony H.G. Wells, most excellent, sir.
Oh, getting there. Thank you so much, George. He's getting there. But you know what? Every time I think I'm on something, you guys, including dear Frank there, set other flames going. So I'm on a mission to do a small collection of our literary genius, mainly historic. There's a couple of later ones, obviously, George Orwell and Agatha Christie, the like. Mainly rooted in Victorian times. Yeah. And I am loving it. I'm loving learning about it. I am loving reading. And it's just a buzz. One thing inspires the other. I think in life it does, but with me, big time.
I think, there are people from every walk of life who inspires, yourself. There are, there are people from every walk of life, no matter what profession they're in, and they do inspire. But you always have a role model.
Well, you have a beacon. You have who raises the bar the highest? You have that individual in all walks of life that you think, I love them, but they're not quite as good as the main guy. And you've got the main guy on the wall behind you. And I'm not being sexist. I know that there are many, many wonderful poets, ladies, who are poets and authors. But the initial knee-jerk thoughts are from him to Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
And then everything else is compared to them, isn't it?
Of course,
like it or not, yeah.
Even when I was at university and I was studying these two fellas, Shakespeare and Dickens, and I put them on par with each other.
Yeah.
I couldn't distinguish from the both of them.
I know.
I couldn't say he's better than him, if you know what I mean.
I have spent the past couple of days reading about people who I am in awe of, and one of them, obviously, we're going to talk about tonight, or two of them tonight. But you have the likes also of William Morris,
Yeah,
who most people you think as a designer, oh, he designed cushion covers and what he
yeah,
did. He was far more. He was
wallpaper.
the whole thing, like Shakespeare. He was a poet. He wrote um, some wonderful, wonderful works on um, socialism of us before it was called socialism. But the idea that the world is all of us, not just to be governed by a minority. So the more I read about him, the more fascinated I am with the man. Didn't do many favors in certain circles,
Oh,
as we know that story, but we are blessed to have had him with us.
yes, yeah, you're right, of course. Like a lot of others as well. Never forget that. And Karen says, "Love the lamp, Frank. What a lovely gesture." Yeah, it was a lovely gesture, Karen.
Yeah.
It really was. You know, she came down and said, "Hey, this is for you." And she brought me half a chicken, half a cooked chicken. It's like Henry VIII.
Wow. Well, the lamp is what you would call a meaningful gift, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes, yes. And ambidextrous Helen, she says, "Our Jan's there. This is the lady who brought down this
Yeah.
wonderful present. Unfortunately, I have a cold and sore throat, so stays
Oh,
at home,
oh,
gutted."
ambidextrous. So sorry to hear that. Oh, hopefully you get the chance to do it again. Oh, that's sad.
Now, this is not the Johan speaking here. This is George. He says, "I can honestly say, Frank and Anthony, you both, in caps, inspire me to be a better man, one who thirsts for knowledge." That's a crowd. It's not about Anthony or myself, but we all thirst for knowledge.
We do.
And the sad thing is, and I think Anthony will agree with me here, I've always said, Anthony's agreed, you know, because we talk, when Anthony and myself talk privately, we talk about different paths and paths that people take. Luckily enough, Anthony went down one path, I went down the other, but we achieved what we set out to achieve. The likes of Anthony, you know, well, you can see what he's done. Everything. He's a great artist. He's an international artist, as Johan always says. And, well, he is, you know, he is an international artist. It's been proved time and time again. And myself, I went down a path uh, because what inspired me were writers. And I'm talking about writers that not just when I was a little, honestly, I was a little kid. I must have been 9, 10, and used to bunk off school. And I used to run into the library, as I said, and I used to just pick books. And the books that I picked up was about Horatio Nelson and Lord Montgomery and Julius Caesar and Napoleon Bonaparte. You see, so wow, wow. And then that brought me on to, you know, these military men. It brought me on to another military man as I got a bit older. And that was Georgi. Oh, for God's bloody, it was you. It'll come to me in a moment anyway. And it brought me on to him then. Obviously, when you're a kid and you get little books and that to read, I always remember it was a birthday present, actually. It was a birthday present that went missing on me. And I've always, everybody's got regrets. And I got it as a 21st birthday present. And it was a very thin paper. And believe it or not, it was a first edition of Oliver Twist.
Oh my God.
And I always remember this lady, a friend of mine, was always over there. He's dead now. He died very young age. And his sister borrowed it off me. Never ever seen it again. Never ever seen it again. And it killed me. And I've always regretted that. It was very thin. It's like tracing paper.
Yeah.
You know, and very small print. Yeah. And I got it as at my 21st, because 21st then were huge. Yeah. And, you know, the family, well, where's your book? Where is it? And I didn't say that. I lent it out. So I can't find it.
You know what? I think that is the greatest gift if we're brought up in a good family amongst good friends, is that they, because I've had the same thing in my growing up, your family, your loved ones are doing what we talk about with literature. They're observing your life, your day-to-day, and they think, that would be great for our Francis.
Yeah.
You know, well, that would be great for our Anthony. We'll buy that. And they know before we know. And
I think that's great, what you just said, because that was actually said to me. Because I started reading, you know, I was around 13, 14.
Yeah.
I started to read these, you know, novels. And do you know what the first novel I ever read? I mean, properly. You know, picked it up and read it. And I'll tell you what it was.
Was it Conan Doyle?
And it wasn't a Dickens. Sorry?
Okay. Was it a Conan Doyle?
Oh, did you? Yeah. Conan Doyle. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Have a guess what it was, though?
Was it the Sign of Four?
Oh, no. This is well read. And I mean, well read. Loads of films. Yes. The Hounds of the Baskervilles.
You know what? Separately, when Lane and I grew up, that is our favourite Conan Doyle story and film with Basil Rathbone. Yeah. Oh, well. Even all these years later, we watched it last week. You're still sitting on the end of your seat thinking, wow.
Yeah. And when, you know, you read about the character of Sherlock Holmes, it is Basil Rathbone. Yes. And for people out there, you know, our lovely chatters, Basil Rathbone was a war hero. Yeah. He was mentioned in dispatches loads of times, but he got just below the Victoria Cross, which was the military cross for officers. He won that, and him and the other fella, Noel Chavas, were great friends, and they used to play pranks on each other. Now, to play pranks, you had to get away from that war, what was going on, the bombardments every single day. And they used to play pranks on each other, you know. which was, I think it was tried to bring some, I don't know, do you call it jollity in a bloody war? I don't know. But, that's what they used to do. And they were in the Liverpool Scottish, the pair of them. So they knew each other well. And that's the way it is. Anyway.
That's a fantastic tribute to Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
That friendship.
Yes. Yeah. Christopher, hi Frank and Anthony and everyone. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Christopher. And good evening.
And George said, Zukov, the greatest. Thank you, George. I'm always talking about, and the way it just falls out the ear. Out of your brain, out of your ear, and you go.
Well, we both had a bit of that this week. I've had I think it was Owen who put me back on track, but yeah, it does. But it shows the importance of literature and how, as a child, we don't understand really what's going on in the bigger world. We don't understand politics. It's something that engrosses us and then lights a candle in us, and we've been lucky to have it all our life.
It does light a candle, and that candle keeps on burning.
Yeah.
It keeps on burning, and when it burns, fortunately, it hasn't burnt out yet.
No.
It hasn't burnt out.
And that's such a sadness, but because I talked to someone today about them reaching a point and them saying, you know what, I'm done with it now. I'm just tired.
Yes.
Not in our respective fields, but wow, and that's such a sadness when someone gets to a stage and you think, no, I'm done.
Exactly, because I think every chatter on here knows something about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, H.G. Wells, Edgar Allan Poe, all these great writers. They know something. Obviously, everybody knows about Charles Dickens. Why did he know about Charles Dickens? Name one novel he had written, and everybody knows about it.
Christmas Carol.
Yes.
It's the one. Christmas Carol. It ignited our love of humanity, even though it may only be for a short time, Christmas period. Back to work, it's January the 4th or whatever. There's that thing of you cannot watch that film or read that book without thinking the important things are being together with those that love you and that you love. And that's the real meaning of Christmas.
But side by side, the juxtaposition of wealth and poverty.
Yes.
Right? You've got the elite on one end as well. That's another juxtaposition. And the very poor on the other hand. Yeah. And that's what it was about.
Yeah.
It was about sharing, like the ghost of Christmas present.
Yeah.
When you see him, he's dressed as Father Christmas. And he's got all this lovely thing around. All this festive food around him. A big roaring fire. And that's telling the people who are reading this at the time that it was written, help the needy, give them heat, because these were people look, it happens today.
Yeah.
How many people are living in doorways?
Yeah.
please, how many people are living in doorways?
Yeah.
And, they're there for a reason. And some reasons are shocking, because I always remember, I'm going back, and it was under, who was it under? I forget what Prime Minister. I forget it was under what Prime Minister. And this family, were evicted. They couldn't pay the mortgage because he came out of work. The breadwinner. The family, not him. They were put up in a, one of these like hostels, homes, for women and children.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me. That just come on me all of a sudden. Anyway, what had happened, Anthony? What happened to the man? And the man was living in a bloody doorway. He had nowhere to go. He had no family, you see.
Yeah.
And, they're the tragic circumstances of some people today. And it goes back to what Charles Dickens was saying.
And I was reading bits about this today, and it's not just about Dickens, but it enters the Oxford Dictionary that to describe something as dire as that and as hard as that is known as Dickensian. And also the other great name, which is now a descriptive name, is Orwellian.
Yeah.
These people didn't intend that to be on their CV. They were trying to tell the world what was going on.
Of course.
Then, oh, right. So if it's that hard and times are that cruel and shit, we'll call it Dickensian. No, just help the people. There shouldn't be any starving child anywhere in the world. You and I both talked about that on air and privately.
Yes.
Why should that? No.
Yes. I can't. Forget it. I'm not going down that rabbit hole again.
No,
what I've seen today. I'm not going
the immense power in that their popularity, that these authors became an ideology.
Yeah.
Wow. You couldn't even dream that, could you? You couldn't imagine that.
No. And Johan, what a strange world. Arthur Conan Doyle ignited my fire for literature as well. I was obsessed with Sherlock Holmes as a boy. Wanted to be a detective when I was young.
Wow.
Wow.
Still time, Johan. Never say never. Well, we don't on this show anyway. But
I think if we could get a band of us together, we could become the Murder Thursday Club.
We could solve the get
or
rid
the
of all.
Murder Club. We could become that. A little band of detectives.
Yeah. Get rid of all the snides and make way just for good people.
And Bella says, Buonasera, Franco and Anthony, and hope you're all well. Looking forward to tonight, learning more, says our lovely Italian lady.
That's lovely, Bella. Thank you. We are too. We never know what to expect, and we have an open heart and open ears.
Yes, we have it's like an open forum. We just go off on a bloody tangent. And George says, you mentioned Poe here. There's one for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned Poe. What was the mystery surrounding his death? As I recall it, was as strange as one of his works.
It was. It was strange, and there was a few possibilities, and they've never ever established what definitely killed him. And the problem, in part, lies with something that Frank has touched upon, and we've both experienced, and I'm sure many people experience. If you do well in your life without your knowledge, you're making enemies. Who does he think he is? What does he think he's doing? There's all of that. Poe had made enemies because of his immense gift as an editor and a critic. He criticised a particular author. I'm not going to mention him because he's not worth a stuff. But in the great mysteries of the world, when Poe died, this guy read his obituary, and he used every conceivable thing to make Poe sound like the devil. He said he was a drunkard, he was a drug addict, he battered his wife, he stole from others. None of it was true. But unfortunately, that tarnished Poe's reputation after death. So,
Do you
not
know
sure.
what? With you saying that, and with George saying, the mystery surrounding his death. A couple of weeks ago, it was just a little comment, and it's about that Charlie Kirk's death. And someone just made a comment, American obviously, and said, his death reminds me of the strange and mysterious death of one of our greatest writers, Edgar Allan Poe. Isn't that strange?
That is strange, but absolutely no connection in
No,
mind.
no. It's the way it's like Kirk's death
Well,
is mysterious, but so is this
it
fellow's.
goes back to what we were talking last night about the propaganda and the lies, and
Of
someone
course.
wanted to tarnish Poe's reputation, and they did. It took like 35 years to resolve that, which is one thing. But in terms of his death, there's two possibilities. One was quite horrendous. He was an ill man. He died at age 40. He was ill. There was something going on. Whether or not it was epilepsy or whether or not it was some sort of... he could not drink. If he had a drink, it would absolutely mess him up totally. So he couldn't do the drinks and the drugs. He couldn't do it. But the idea that maybe it was a brain thing and it caught up with him makes sense to me.
Yeah, like a blame. I read somewhere, I'm going back years ago, though, a brain aneurysm.
Could be, but it took him a few days to go.
Yeah.
We found him slumped in the streets of Boston, where he wasn't living at the moment. He'd been to Virginia, and he caught a boat back. He was going back to New York, where he had a 2-up, 2-down house. His wife had died 18 months or a couple of years ago. He was absolutely bereft. But we have to earn money, don't we? You have to pay the man who wants the money off you. So you pay your mortgage, you pay whatever. So he was still editing for various magazines who paid him very, very poorly. Even with The Raven hitting the top of the charts, he didn't make any money out of it. Someone did, but it wasn't him.
Of course. Well, I think that brings us to the Liverpool connection with what you're saying about someone making money.
Yeah.
And that's Carlyle.
Yes.
Who did the who did the drawings, the illustrations for
Yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, especially.
Which was
Fantastic pieces of artwork.
and all from imagination.
Think about it. Did he make any money from that?
No,
There you
nothing.
go. So
Because
somebody was making a lot of money. It's
they
just
do.
like, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, they do, and they continue to now, Frank.
Yeah, well, the point is as well, Dickens himself, and I've got his thing here, the commercial traveller somewhere, but I've got it here anyway. And another book called, I forget what it's called. It's about Dicko.
Well,
I'm not getting it. Dickens and Travel. I think it was in that one, Dickens and Travel, where he was just talking to somebody, a friend of his. It could have been Thomas Carlyle, could have been Wilkie Collins, could have
yeah,
been anybody. I'm not quite so sure now. And he said, you write these things, and it's very hard to get the money in.
yeah,
Especially the periodicals.
yeah.
Because that's what they wanted them to do, leave everybody on a knife edge, for the next one.
Because they're selling magazines.
Yeah.
You don't want to give it all away, not for 10 bob. I'm not giving it all away. But if you make them pay over 6 months or whatever it was, and Conan Doyle obviously went the same way. But there was a weird thing going on in America at the time, and I forget the name description, but basically it's a political thing. And when Edgar Allan Poe was found, it was rife. It was everywhere. If a controlling party, say like the Conservative Party, were battling it out in the polls against someone else, they would use any kind of trickery to get more votes. And the thing that they would do was kidnap people on the streets, or from cafes or bars or wherever. Kidnap them like you and me or George or anyone. And then you would be marched into a polling station and told, put the X on that, whoever the name was, Sefton, and then drugged or drink, they would top you up, and then they would move you to another polling station in a different set of clothes and do the same thing. And then they would move you somewhere else and do the same thing. So,
and they were just X's, weren't they, in those days? They weren't signatures.
When Edgar Allan Poe was found in the street, someone recognized him and phoned his cousin. And he was wearing somebody else's clothes.
Really?
Your clothes, or you weren't wearing mine, or whatever. I'm totally out of it. So they said, oh, he's a drunkard. But there's a lot more to it than that.
Well, that's why there's a mystery, you see.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, a mystery. And Christopher says A Christmas Carol is one of the first experiences of the theatre for lots of people. You're so right there. You're so right.
For all the good reasons.
Yeah. Toscana, Tabella. Spero tutto bene. Bene. And Dickens and Orwell says, Johann, we're warning us. Unfortunately, the puppeteers took those warnings and turns it into a blueprint. That's
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Because the chap who became enemy of Liverpool and Ireland, statesman as he was, good old Winnie, he said after reading Orwell's 1984, "This is most fascinating. I will have to read it again," and then delved into the possibilities.
Yes. And as Johan says, which is just coming up there, well, we'll be our own FBI, Frank's Bureau of Investigation. That's
That's
our
right, absolutely right.
the
Yeah.
Thursday Murder Club. We could be the Wednesday Murder Club.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do a murder. We haven't done a murder for a while on the history.
Oh yeah, look, Ephemeral. That's a lovely name, that isn't it? Ephemeral. What a name. Ephemeral. Anyway, Ephemeral says, to what extent do you believe that Edgar Allan Poe's series about Saint Auguste Dupin influenced the crime genre? Lovely conversation going on here, by the way. Thank
Yeah,
you, Ephemeral. Thank you. I'm
it
going to
was.
call you F.
It was the very, very, very first detective novel, Murder in the Rue Morgue.
Murder in the Rue Morgue, okay. Which, are you talking about Dupin or are you talking about Poe?
I'm talking about Poe.
Okay, well, what about the Moonstone?
Well, the Moonstone. Well, it's different views. Some people um, promote it as the Moonstone was the very first detective novel written in the UK.
Well, Wilkie Collins.
So, which you probably
Well, people
probably.
say that it's the very first
Well,
detective. It's like, I'll tell you what it's like. Andy, I'm not disputing anything, I'm just saying, what other critics have said as well. The likes of Mary Shelley's
yeah.
Frankenstein, Prometheus Unbound, right? That was the very first science fiction novel.
Yes.
But there are other people who go back, believe it or not, 2,000 years ago to the Chinese and their detectives because they had detectives
Yeah.
2,000 years ago. They said that, it was the first country to investigate whatever was going on, whether they were murders, whether it was robberies, or whether it was anything. And they wrote about it.
Yeah.
Writers wrote about it. You see, so it's a fascinating subject.
Well, it's kind of all about what we know, and,
Exactly.
and we know far less than is out there on every subject, don't we? And we love and respect historians because that's how we get to find out about individual people and about individual places. But there's with that in mind, you've always got the option of someone putting a review in a high profile magazine or book to say, well, Frank Carlyle wrote the very, very first book on this thing, and then it's rubber stamped. So nothing is definitely, but I remember when I first, and I saw the film before I read Poe's book, and I was quite, because it was an unusual angle to come at you for a detective story. And I remember reading about it in various, magazines and books and stuff over the years. But there's always got to be someone who opens the gates
Yes, I was just looking for something there. Have I got it here? No, no. Unfortunately. Can I show you something, by the way?
Yeah.
I'll just show you this a moment. I've got to show you this because I got a message of someone who went, you mentioned you mentioned Queen Elizabeth. I said yes, I did. And the Irish. I want to read something out about the Irish, by the way,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Is this during her reign?
No, the Irish not in the but her reign, right? And I mentioned something, didn't I, about Elizabeth,
Yes.
right? And someone said, "Hey, Frank," and I went, "Yes." They said, "Have you still got that thing you showed once before?" And I went, "Yes." And I'm going to show you it now. I'll have to take our people here a minute. Won't be a minute, you wonderful people.
Yeah.
This bloody microphone's in the way. Any freaking hell, gotta do.
Yeah. Very readable.
You see, so what I've read and studied, and I'm talking about for years, not just reading a book or two about it, and some other things. Even the Spanish used to get at it. Did you know that going back then? Because they used to, they used to get dressed up as a and put moustaches on. You know, the person, with a big gruff voice. And it's well documented that she was 6'1" tall. She had big hands. She had big feet. She was very hirsute. She had male pattern baldness, and she has an Adam's apple. And she spoke with a gruff voice. And that's all I'm saying on the matter. And also, I'd just like to mention about the Irish, because I'll forget about this. I might lose it again. I'm sorry, it's not literature as such, people, but someone's asked me, and I finally found it, but I might just lose it again when I'm talking about the Irish. And I've lost my glasses. There they are there. I can't read them without me. I hate wearing these bloody glasses, Anthony. But I'm just going to read this one, so I'm not going to discuss it. And remember when we mentioned about the pig and whistle last night?
Yeah.
And what was the plaque outside?
A big metal sign outside the pub hostelry, which said, "No Irish, no blacks, no dogs."
Right. So, and people say that, with the old song, if you're Irish, step into the parlour. There's a welcome place for you. Right? That was a load of nonsense.
Yeah.
Because I'll just read the Liverpool Mercury, which became the Liverpool Echo.
Yeah.
And this was written in 1848. This was a year after the influx of the Irish. It is not to be forgotten. Hang on. It is not to be forgotten too that very much of the Irish misery lies quite beyond the reach of any remedial measure. of a government, except by a very indirect and gradual process, can change the idiosyncrasies and aptitudes of a nation. To convert slothful, improvident, and reckless race into our industrious, thrifty, and peaceful people, we may see what the stuff the finest peasantry in the world are made of by visiting any Irish quarter in any of the large towns of England or America. There is a taint of inferiority in the character of the pure Celt, which has to do with his present degradation and Saxon physiognomy. And that was the Liverpool Echo.
Okay.
So you see why they said, okay, I'll read it out. But that's for another time. And about the Queen as well. That's for another time.
Maybe Monday?
Yes, definitely. 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 And what happened there? Oh, yeah, there she is. F says, very fascinating stuff. How do we feel about Cormac McCarthy over here? Cormac McCarthy. Obviously, Cormac McCarthy is Irish. You never heard of him?
No, sadly, but I'm making my business to find out more.
Sorry there, F. Well,
I mean, my thing with Poe, and I'm sorry to have gone on tonight, but it's just that when I was a child and you read things that stick in your mind, and in later years, it was the poignancy of his life, which was a struggle, and obviously his death, and his works, and um, in all quarters were not necessarily. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about them. You're not remembered for your works when you're alive, because you're of no importance unless you're bringing money to the table. But after the event,
yeah.
and we know that through John Keats and the like.
Yes. Keats, one of the greatest of all. One of the greatest of all poets. And do you remember when I said about how people can misinterpret when they read, even books, novels, they misinterpret and they get it wrong and they haven't read it properly.
Yeah.
Now, are we getting back to you, George? Christopher. In the early days of theatre, they were not allowed to show a dead body on stage, so murdered characters were always off stage. That could easily be interpreted as they weren't allowed to, show dead bodies on stage, but they murdered the characters when they were off stage. But can you see how easily it could be misinterpreted?
Yeah.
You never got that, did you, by me?
No.
In the early days of theatre, they were not allowed to show a dead body on stage. So, murdered characters were always off stage. And sorry about this, I've had this bloody flu jab and it's coming on me now. But anyway, as I said, I wish I've got water here. And as I said, when people read, sometimes they don't read it properly. They misinterpret some things, and that could easily, Christopher's comment there could easily be misinterpreted by saying, in the early days, listen carefully, right? In the early days of theatre, they were not allowed to show a dead body on stage. So they made it characters while they were
off stage. Yeah.
Exactly. The characters. And you could read it and go, I didn't know that. They actually made it. Do you see how it's so, misinterpreted? And today it's called misinformation.
Yeah, it is. It's also expertly used, isn't it, in language and visuals on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So that image is shelved, but this one is up. This is positive, happy.
Yes. Toscana to Bella, she says, I'm okay, but finding it difficult dealing with the cold weather. It's horrible. I've never liked cold weather, ever. That's why I got the flu jab. I don't know why, because I don't go out. I'm faster sources then. All right, everyone. All right, faster.
All right, fastest.
And is that me or you?
That's you.
Me?
Fireworks?
Yeah, it's not me. Bloody hate them things.
Could be fireworks outside, yeah.
Hate those things.
Well, the good thing is not a rent man's knock, is it?
No. The ran-tan-tan. The ran-tan-tan. Oh. When your kids and a big ran-tan come and everyone, the adults in the house go.
Behind the couch.
I want me tea.
For how long, Mum?
And George says, McCarthy wrote, I love that film. I love that film. Brilliant. Tommy Lee Jones. Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
The best villain ever, him.
Yeah.
Brilliant film. Brilliant.
Like Jones. Yeah. He's intense, isn't he?
Ephemeral says, I'm surprised you haven't heard of McCarthy. He's American, no worries. I've subscribed so I can hopefully catch the next. Oh, she's gone.
Yeah, please do. And we'll try and catch Mr. McCarthy. But our focus has been in the main more on the Celtic,
English.
the English.
We were talking last night, if you're still with us, we were talking last night about Steinbeck. We were talking about him, and even his quotes, some of his quotes that, came out. Steinbeck. And one of the greatest quotes that he ever said, believe it or not, was, if you're in trouble or hurt or in need, go to poor people. They'll be the only ones that'll help you. The only ones. That's one of the greatest quotes from anybody. From anybody.
Yeah.
And that's the way. We do quote what these great writers talk about, these wonderful people. Even Orwell, he said, however much you deny the truth, the truth will always exist. You see? So it's not just, we quote the great literature giants, going back to Shakespeare. We quote him.
Well, you mentioned Mark Twain last night.
And we mentioned, Mark Twain. And Ephemeral says, Steinbeck is very good. I know some people have reservations against himself, especially if you had to study him at secondary school. I remember Of Mice and Men, East of Eden is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Mice of Men was actually mentioned by my good friend Anthony.
I love that book and the film adaptations of it. The poignancy of it, the humanity of it.
It is. You're right, Franco and Anthony. I read books taught one thing about the book, but then when I've read it again, as a different overview, it's like watching a film. It's like watching a comedy series. Believe it or not, you watch it and you laugh. Oh, it's funny that. And then when you put it on again, you go, wow, what's it? Oh, I missed that. So you're missing things. Even in films, you miss things.
Yeah.
And then you're easily distracted. John F. Kennedy could read a novel within a day. Well, a few hours. And he retained it. That's how great he was, John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And Foster says, punctuation. Anyone heard about the panda that eats, shoots, and leaves? Brilliant. Absolutely. And George Bernard Shaw, and it was really as well Einstein. They said this punctuation, why do we have to use it? George Bernard Shaw and Einstein. Good grief. And Jason says, I have a couple of Cormac McCarthy's books I can pass up. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
The producer of the show.
Did you enjoy them, Jason?
Yeah, Jason's a good reader,
Yeah. Because Jason, too, is a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Owen Lee, even if Frank Anthony and chat, hope you're all well. Yes, Owen.
Well, good.
Yes, we're all good. And Owen says, of mice and men, I only wanted to stroke the rabbit.
Yeah. Humanity will Frank did that the other month.
If you ever go to Jason's house, he has a rabbit, and it's like a bloody cat. It comes up and it wants to purr, and it wants you to stroke it. Honestly, I've never known an animal like it, a rabbit. Incredible. And George says, Frank, I had to watch Citizen Kane 3 times. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Great comment. Yeah. Never give up. Great comment.
Yeah.
Because you're so right, George. How many times, look, from being young before going, excuse me, and before going to university, I read numerous books, no matter whether it was military, whether it was, believe it or not, love, whether it was science fiction, the likes of Shelley's, Mary Shelley's, that is, science fiction, Frankenstein, Prometheus Unbound. So, all these books going up, right? And when you start studying them, and when you start like looking into the backgrounds of the books, that's when you can understand them more.
Yeah.
And it's only what George said about watching Citizen Kane 3 times before he got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like anything, any sort of literature. If literature's on the screen, you can miss something, and then you rewatch it, or you can misinterpret something, and you go,
Yeah.
"What's that?" And go, watch it again. But you'll always find something different.
Yeah.
Whether you're reading it or whether you're watching it.
Do you know it was a great prompter for me as a young guy, as a school leaver and early? There was a boom in comic book illustration. So the likes of it's mainly from America, I think, but we might have had some of our homegrown. There was all sorts of comics or comic books. I don't know what they called them at the time, but
you were comic books, yeah?
As strange but true and fiction, and horror. I first got into Edgar Allan Poe and many others, Conan Doyle, by following this kind of pen and ink and story that went with it. And with me wanting to do pen and ink, that just hooked me. And then I would go, my mum would say, "What do you want for Christmas? Can I have a book? What book do you want? Can I have, And it was there. From there, it was like a reciprocal thing for me with the art and the story in it.
Yeah, but you see, with you being an artist, you get images, don't you? You get images of everything.
Yeah.
Because you when you're reading, especially, let's just take Dickens for example. One of the he was the greatest descriptive writer of all time. So you yourself is painting a picture, as you're reading it, because of his descriptive writing. But that applies to everybody who can understand. There's lots of symbolism as well in everything, especially in poetry.
See, that's what we miss first through. You miss a lot of that because you're keen to find out where the story's going and then how it resolves. Is it happy? Is it sad? Is it? So we miss, on first readings, we miss a lot. And the symbolism is something that really, I feel, comes to us when we start to think about what we've read, and then you go back and you check things, which is the beauty of literature, because it's a forever thing. It's not like a read gone. It's there, and the same emotions that touch you when you're 17 can still touch you when you're 67 or whatever.
Jason says they are recommended read, but not easy read. I'm not sure if enjoy is the word to use, but I'd recommend them. And that's that McCarthy fella.
Yeah. Thanks, Chase. Yeah.
And Owen says, a book I gave up on is Ulysses. Tries a few times. I think a few people, you're not the only one. Yeah. You're not the only one, Owen. Believe you me. I tell you what I started reading. I and I could have read 2 or 3 novels by the time I never finished it. I didn't leave it. I couldn't finish it. And that was Tolstoy's War and Peace.
Yeah.
It just went on and on and on and on, if you know what I mean. And then you
Yeah.
lose characters. If anything, if a book is that thick, for example, you lose characters on the way. A
Yeah.
character is there, and then, a character is there anyway. And as it moves on, that character has just dissipated from the pages. And yet, as you're reading it and this character, that character you think is important to the storyline, but you don't see that character again. And that's the fault with books that thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And George says, Anthony, I think I remember one graphic series called Strange Tales in the 70s. Well, you've
George,
only
I have got some on that shelf over there. I have got some of that series, Strange Tales, and I will dig them out before next time Frank and I together. So it disputes the myth that I'm a liar. But
you
also,
know,
the great, I love them, George. I spent a bit of time in hospital when I was a kid, and that was a turning point for me deciding this is what I want to do, because I would have the comic books and learn how to draw by copying stuff that's in it.
I'll tell you another writer, like along those lines, and he never ever gets mentioned, ever. Now, I'll mention him just before. I'm going to mention 2 series which blew everybody's mind when they first came out and they were in black and white,
Yeah,
right? So I'm going to put the author there who never gets mentioned. Got nothing to do with what I'm going to say here now. And that was the Twilight Zone. Remember that?
I do. I loved it.
What was the other series? There was the Twilight Zone and the couple of me just had it before. Oh, I forget the other series. It was the Twilight Zone and the I forget. It's gone. As I said, I had it here a minute ago. It's gone. It just fell out. I don't know where it's gone. It'll come back to me now.
Yeah,
But the author, the other is Roald Dahl.
yeah,
Now, Roald Dahl wrote some very strange stories
dark.
indeed.
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah. You're absolutely right, Frank. Yeah, yeah. You did, and they they attracted multitudes of children, which you wouldn't think, but it's like we talked yesterday about the origins of fairy tales,
Yes.
which were all dark and grim.
But you've only got to look at it. Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah,
Little Red Riding Hood.
someone was going to cut your head off.
Exactly.
Of
Exactly.
Wolf and Snow White and
Yeah, Snow White, that was a very strange one. Very strange. With dwarfs as well. I think there's been a lot of I don't like to say this, but I'll have to. when people throw innuendos in,
Yeah.
do you ever remember um, Captain Pugwash?
Yeah.
And there was two seamen. One
Yeah.
was called Seaman Staines, and the other one, what was the other one called? Master Bates.
Yeah.
So you see the innuendo,
Absolutely.
and they
Very.
got away with it.
Yeah. Because it was classed as children's, so
Yeah,
children aren't going to know about it.
yeah,
In in the in the books, one of our beautiful chat mentioned the other week about um, tomorrow is actually his birthday. John Lennon writing his two books. But he wrote these books when he was at school, and one of the stories he wrote was Snow Wife and Several Warts, a play on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
yeah.
So I
But that
always
was
looked
the
at it.
genius of
Yeah,
Lennon, wasn't it? Really.
yeah. And also the
I
likes
wrote.
of, um, you know, Edward Lear, people like that who wrote, but not in the way that Dickens and everything wrote. They wrote
No.
to kind of scatter your mind a little bit.
Well, even Lennon, I'm not saying skittered at Wordsworth, when he said, I wandered lonely as a sock, not a cloud, but a sock. Anyway, Toscana, I got interested in Steinbeck because of the film East of Eden and then went to Warner Brothers Studios where some of it was filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I
that's
got.
the other great thing about modern age is that we got the literature, the original source, and then when a film is made, it's kind of wonderful to compare the two, and you think to yourself, that's what that character looks like.
Faster Tortoise. Now, I couldn't get through Wuthering Heights. I was listening to it on audio book. I kept on losing track on who was narrating. Just gave up in the end. I've read Wuthering Heights is one of the greatest books ever written, by the way. Honestly, Faster, it really is. And, the Brontes, in my opinion, were wonderful authors. And Wuthering Heights is such a tale of love, deceit, and not listening to a full sentence. And that was Heathcliff. And, the story of Heathcliff and Cathy was one of the strongest of all love stories. I liked Wuthering Heights. Great story. Maybe I'm biased, I don't know. And Foster says, I got about three quarters through Anna Karenina. Anna Karenina. He just kept going on about trains. He's going on about trains.
Change and lack of toilets.
Was it Tales of the Unexpected? Like, no, it was an American train. Tales of the Unexpected. That was English. Um, it was American. Oh, into no. Copperami, I had it then. The Twilight Zone. And the. Oh, fuck. That's going to persecute me, though. The Twilight Zone, and beyond, one step beyond, one step beyond. They were two of the most radical, mind-bending TV series when they first came out in the 50s.
Wow.
Do you remember One Step Beyond?
They were the modern equivalent of Dickens' weekly submissions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because told a story in like
yeah.
15 minutes.
But there was no ending, if you know what I mean. You wondered what was going to happen. Do you know what? Me eyeballs itchy, would you believe it? Me eyelid. You won't believe it, would you? But I go to it. Oh, blimey. Yeah, One Step Beyond, and One Step Beyond. The Twilight Zone. Two of the most unbelievable ones. There used to be a series, television series. I'm going back to, I don't know whether it was the 70s or 80s. I'm not quite so sure. And it was a brilliant mystery series. And how it started off was it was a train and, haunting music. And you just see a train. One of those, it's not a train. It's, what you go on at the fun fair, you go up and down and whatever.
Like a pinball.
You know what I mean? What?
Yeah. There used to be a series of films, and Hammer did them. Hammer Horror.
Yeah, that's them. Yeah, they did these series.
And it was like 7 or whatever passengers on a train.
Yeah.
And it focused in on the vicar and then someone else, and each one was a story, wasn't it?
Oh, that was Hammer. Yeah, but Hammer produced these television series.
Okay.
And you see them on the Big Dipper. You just see a Big Dipper, and no one's on it. You're on it, and you see it going up, and a great haunting music as well. But that particular, that was a film where it focused on the Peter Cushing as a vicar, but he's not a vicar, is he?
No, he's done some damage.
He's telling the story.
Rick Castle was on, and various people. And this goes back to what we were saying about you gain people's trust when you tell them a story. So for them to believe something fabulous or out there, then there's a vicar on the train. Good morning, vicar. There's, what are you? I'm a school teacher. So there's a normality. And then the normality goes when the stories unravel.
Yeah, but there were some stories like that. I don't know, about these vaults things as well, where you see them going, there's one with Terry Thomason, by the way, and you see them going down in the lift, they're going out. They're just pressing the button but they go straight down to the basement where there's a table all set out. And they said, what's this? And one of them turns around to get out and the door's shut, so they can't get out. And that's where the stories begin. But there are some stories where, you think, well, he's done nothing wrong, really. Do you get me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway.
That's for what reason do you all end up in hell?
Yeah. I know, and Lee says, I mentioned a series of books yesterday. The next book in the series I've got, but just can't face starting it because it's that thick. It's put me off, even though I love them. That's mad, isn't it? That's what we were talking about, because you get something like that, characters seem to get lost,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Lord of the Rings was like that because it came out in three big chunky uh, books. I'm glad I read them now. I think I
Yeah,
was 18 when I read them.
Roger the Cabin Boy.
Oh, that's back to you and the.
Roger the Cabin Boy. Oh. Do we think these books are strange when we're reading them as kids, or is it as we get older? As we get older,
I never thought them as strange, but it, it was kind of a selling ploy, wasn't it? So strange tales. So you think, well, I'm going there. I'm going to have that. I'll go with that. And then the just stories, and as you grow up, you see them in different. Well, you mentioned, and we talked about it before, and all of the greats, you know, Dickens and them wrote short stories for a magazine, Christmas edition, or an Easter edition, or we need two stories for half term or whatever. I love short stories. I used to buy the big books of all different authors. That's where I first read Monkey's Paw and stuff.
brilliant. The Monkey's Paw, love the Monkey's Paw. Well, I've got that for you, haven't I? I've got the other thing as well.
I love them.
I've got the Gothic one for you.
But a couple of them, you wouldn't see me for 2 or 3 days. I'd just be there, pot of lukewarm tea.
Now, do you know what? I'm not going to fucking mention the author or anything. And there's something there like that. Liverpool Victoria Crosses.
Yeah,
No one ever fucking mentioned them until me.
yeah,
Me.
yeah.
And I hate people jumping on bandwagons.
Oh,
Hate it.
a lot of them doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And what's more painful is when they're closer to home.
Yeah, very much so. And as I said, I said at the time, I said, we must get a statue made for Noel Shavas, a double VC winner with the Liverpool Scottish.
Yeah.
And I got it done. No one has heard him. I have heard him, but no one's done nothing. And the fucking likes of this, I fumed at this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I fumed at it. No one. I was the only one talking about, as you know, on the radio, about Victoria Crosses.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they go, oh yeah.
There's money in that.
Yeah, of course. And George says, Frank, the Captain Pugwash thing was an urban myth. There was no semen stains, no masturbates, or indeed no Roger the Cabin Boy. It was funny though. I know because I checked it out on YouTube.
Oh, what exciting lives we lead, George.
Fantastic. It was fantastic. What were you thinking when you started War and Peace, Frank? Were you like, come on, you won't get better than me. You're only 8,000 pages, whatever.
Oh,
at university, I had to bring in a Russian author, and so I was taking the piss, I think, because they said, "Have a go with that Leo Tolstoy. He wrote a cracker called War and Peace." I went, "Yeah, okay." So, but anyway, I didn't have to read it all. But what I did read, I wrote about. And that was it, basically. I never got to the end. I'm being honest. I'm being honest. But I did write about what I read.
I've never read the book, but I watched the series twice.
Yes. And Jason says, I'd heard about Captain Pugwash names, but I don't think it's true, mate. I think it was told that many times. It formed a Mandela effect, and everyone believed it. Well, all right, I'm just telling you. How did Tolkien come up? Where everything in his books are also made up language. Brilliant Tolkien.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely amazing, yeah. And I don't know. I don't know. He was just it was it was it was beyond perfectionism, wasn't it? He was a master of languages. So he made his own.
Bella says, Franco and Aunt chatting my father and mum's anniversary of their death. My daughter, at 9 o'clock, sings their favourite opera songs as if they were here listening. Great night. Thank you. Oh. So it must be their anniversary of the death.
Yes,
And she's
that's
listening.
beautiful. And I would sing that song loud. But I like to believe that they are hearing it. But that's
Well,
me.
even Owen says, look, his answer to that, to Bella.
Beautiful.
And even Johan. That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That to our lovely Bella and our great people. And Johan, I have a good and peaceful night. Have a good and peaceful night.
Yes. Absolutely, Bella.
And Jason Pennington says, "You'll chop me every time on history, literature, and footy, but cartoon pirates are my forte."
Oh,
And Toscana to Bella, I'm sure your parents are looking down, so proud to hear their granddaughter sing. I wonder if she's singing one of Verdi's or Puccini's. I just remembered the first novel I ever read was The Silver Sword, about kids in Poland during the war, as I recall.
oh,
That's a mad one, that. I'm not saying a mad one, don't get me wrong, but reading it, as a first novel. Uh,
that's that's the
like,
thing that turns you on to reading something else, isn't it? I mean, mine was Biggles.
there you go.
Couldn't
There you,
tell you what story because it was like serialized. But and then my mum was a big fan of Agatha Christie. My dad was a big fan of Sherlock, so I got to read those books as well.
well, that was my first novel, was Sherlock Holmes
Yeah,
and the Hounds of the Baskervilles, because I was reading so much about military. I wanted to break away because I was reading all real stuff, stuff that was happening. And then when I read about, I just said, "Oh, I'll take this." And I read it and I got right into like whodunits. And that's why I love Agatha Christie.
yeah,
There's nothing better than Agatha Christie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
no,
And when you think about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, you know what he believed in?
The afterlife, wouldn't it?
He believed in fairies. He said he's seen fairies.
And he and his wife had a pact, didn't he? Should one of them go first, that they would send a sign.
Yes, yes. And George says, it is actually a children's book published in the 60s by Puffin. He had the Puffin books because they were mainly for children. I thought it was a novel written by an adult about during the war, when you said, because kids suffered in wars.
Yeah.
And most probably that was as well about kids suffering. You know what I mean?
Tears and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ivanhoe.
Robin Hood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoever came out with that Robin Hood and his merry men. Men in tights.
Yeah.
Could you imagine me and you being merry and in tights? Running around your garden after those, or leaving Jason's garden after the rap.
Leave us here with the tankards. We'll be fine. We'll catch you later. See you in the hole in the wall.
And Jason says, didn't Conan Doyle? Yeah, he did. He killed him off, and there was a big, massive public outcry.
Was massive, yeah. Yeah.
And that's to bring him back. Yeah, he did. He brought him back from the dead.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like that, to be honest.
It's an interesting thing to get into, and I know a lot of writers who write through a person, as Conan Doyle wrote through Sherlock Holmes. At a point, Sherlock Holmes is the real thing, and Conan Doyle is who? Conan who? Who's he? No, it's that. And Agatha Christie went through turmoil with her writing, and wow, so many people. I think recently, obviously, the lady who wrote the Harry Potter series, she went through her own.
J.K. She went through a terrible time, that girl.
Yeah.
A terrible time.
You can't really, once something the public have taken to heart, you can't really put it down and say, no, not doing that anymore. No.
No. No.
But it's interesting what you said just before about when you're on a trek and you're reading things, it does so much good to change the pace and read a completely different book.
No, I think you have to, because if you know what type of films are like, I can change just like that. If I'm seeing something there and it's, hard hitting, I could just turn over to like a comedy, for example.
Yeah.
And that brings out a total different mood, shall we say?
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. Yeah. Sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes it's a joy to do that.
And George says, as a teenager, I was really into the Flashman series. Brilliant. I tell you what I was into, as I was growing up, as children's books, was Billy Bunter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Billy Bunter.
Billy
You know,
Bunton had the Just Williams.
yeah.
Yeah. Escapism at the time, wasn't it, for us? Because we weren't aware of the
No,
class
the
system
classes.
that dominated the country.
No, the classes was totally different. Yeah, I had an idea of like the school that he was in. And I say, you know, that's what, and even the series came out, Billy Bunter, and I used to watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, I say, Giles, you know, and it makes you think. But the Flashman, as George says, yeah. The first book I bought with my pocket money was Stig of the Dump.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Stig of the Dump.
Yeah.
I'll give you my age away here, everyone. The very first album I bought. No, I went down to buy a single.
Yeah.
And my mum said, take him down to our Stevie. And our Stevie and my uncle brought me down. And anyway, I'm buying Please Please Me. Right?
Wow.
And do you know what they made? Yeah, you don't want that. Get me out of here. And
Wow.
I ended up going home with, you remember Jimmy Justice?
Yeah.
The Rosa Rose and Spanish Harlem.
Oh.
And I went on, and they took it off me and put it on, and I'm sitting there crying. Only made me buy that.
Oh, I was kind of lucky in growing up, like books, albums were there. My aunties, my mum was the eldest, and then all the aunties would have like last year's Beatle album or whatever, so I got them. But the first single I ever bought was David Bowie, Genie, for 35 pence in Kirby Market.
Do you know what my album was? And I did buy it. Please Please Me. My first album. I wanted it as my first record.
Yeah.
And then I never got it. I never ever. Do you know that Jimmy Justice? I never ever played it, you know. Our kids did.
Oh.
I wouldn't play it. And then I saved up, got me little money for the album, Please Please Me.
Oh.
And it wore the needle out.
That was absolutely brilliant album. Because that's what they did night after night in the cavern, in the clubs and the whatever. So it was like, what you know, let's record what you know.
Stig of the Dump. That's what they used to call Bjornaby, play for Liverpool. I was in the dressing room once, you know, the match finished. I was sitting there with Neil Ruddock. Who else was there? Steve Harkness. And Bjornaby walked in and he went, hey, Harris, Stig of the effing Dump. Bjornaby, that's what they used to call him, Stig of the Dump. And Owen says the Flashman books are brilliant. What a cad. Yes, cad. Yeah. Cad. He's a cad. He's a cad. And Amby says, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. See that title? The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could go to bed, couldn't you, if you're a kid, and if you never let that, you'd expect the coat to open and a witch coming out, or a lion coming out.
Oh my God, that. Mom, the wardrobe's open. Shut it. I was 22 then.
You just gave us a time frame there, Frank. 63, yes, 63, 64, indeed. Indeed. When characters become larger than life, says Johann, authors become redundant to an extent.
Yeah,
Even after their death, the character lives on. We're still making new Sherlock Holmes media today, as
yeah,
with Bond.
yeah. That
I think that's
really,
a. I'm sorry, go on.
that's a brilliant comment, and that really pissed Conan Doyle off.
Well, you've only got so long. I loved it actually. Um, Cumberbatch and
Yeah,
Martin Freeman as Holmes
yeah,
and in modern day.
yeah,
I loved it. I thought that was a fantastic series. Great take on modern day Sherlock.
yeah, yeah. No, it's just brilliant. But like Johan said, you know, you create things. Without you, these things would not exist. Like an artist painting a picture, like a musician composing a tune. And then you are secondary because the thing that's created has a life of its own. And people want to hear more, see more. That, you know, I think it would be a struggle for any author as in that position of writing something which becomes immensely popular.
And you know what? We were going to talk about tonight uh, HG, weren't we? And as we talk about HG,
We mentioned them, but we got Wednesday. If we're on
remember
one,
we were having I said I'll talk about that at first. Who was it going to open up with? Can you remember? Remember when I said last night?
oh, we were gonna do a, a poem from Keats. We were gonna open up with
Beware.
was it uh,
It was Ode to Melancholy. I was going to open up with,
yeah,
and it's. I was going to counteract it by one of my own poems.
where and I asked you if you would read the the blank
Yeah,
page,
poem. Yeah, yeah.
which I think is so what we're talking about, all these wonderful people, everything here connects to that poem.
Everything connects, doesn't it? Everything. Everything connects in every possible way. And I'm talking from the likes of Shakespeare right through to modern day. Not many people, we never mention the likes of Thomas Hardy, for example.
No,
We
privately,
never
but
mention.
not in the. Yeah,
And the likes of, yeah, I've said this before, I've mentioned this before. And Thomas Hardy, was writing novels and he enjoyed writing novels until he came across Tessa the D'Urbervilles and he loved it. He loved Tess and he actually fell in love with Tess,
with the character.
his character. He fell in love with her and he
And
had to kill her off. And he never wrote another novel after that. He just concentrated on poetry. It's mad, isn't it?
it is mad. It is mad. I went through a really bad time once where um, we were struggling to move studios. The kids were little, and all of the thing you've been through. The promise of money, commissions wasn't happening, and in amongst all of this, I had a phone call on the mobile from a woman who it was a kind of a misdial or a misconversation, but she was the most arrogant, horrible person I've ever had on the phone. And I put the phone down, and I thought, oh my God, I've got to do something. So I painted something, a, an abstract face, and I called it an opinion about everything, knowledge of nothing. In me, that's me having a go at this horrible woman on the phone, and then just put it up on the wall in the studio. And about 2 weeks later, it sold.
Oh, go on.
I hadn't put it up for sale. Someone come in and said, "I'll give you 60 quid for that, or 80 quid, or whatever it was." I said, "Yeah." Didn't tell them the story, and it went. The phone laying me up, and then it was like a
Did you have a
relief.
title for it? I was just called it the phone call. Me. Because you do get phone calls, which are very offensive.
Yeah, well, that's what
Very
this
offensive.
this one was, and I couldn't even tell Lainey about it. It was just like an oddity that happens in a day that you don't need, don't want, and so painted the picture and sold it. But that was like someone lifted a weight. No, it was kind of like, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Never
know,
done,
go on.
never done it since. Although obviously we unfortunately we come across and have to talk to our souls every so often. Well, I wouldn't waste my time painting the picture no more.
No. No. No.
Not to do with literature, but it's kind of a release. A long and winding road, George. Oh, have a good day tomorrow, George.
Yes, have a good day. Yeah, the long and winding road tonight has been wonderful, gentlemen. Thank you both. Time for me to retire for my early start. Good night. Good night, George. Thank you. And Johan says even hatred can inspire, funnily enough.
It
You're right,
does.
Johan. It can. But you know what it inspires? It inspires goodness. It inspires goodness. I seen a lady today and she was waving a flag of a certain country. And the flag, big one. And above the flag was another flag. And I couldn't believe it. And this is in New York. And that particular flag was the Israeli flag and the flag of the IDF.
Wow.
And I made a comment. I said, is that the same flag that put 350 bullets into a 6-year-old girl who was begging for help? Hind. So yes, hatred can inspire, but it can inspire good. It can inspire good.
Yeah.
And I'm
Against
so sorry that I didn't mention, we never mentioned those bloody poems.
Do you know what? We'll jolt each other for Monday's history, but Wednesday, these are the definites 1, 2, 3, 4. Then whatever else, wherever else we go, because we'll go somewhere.
Jason says, what a brilliant way to deal with negative energy. To deflect it rather than absorb it, then to create with it. Absolutely. Absolutely, Joe.
Yeah. I think that's our way for all of us. Certainly for us three. Whatever comes our way, we'll turn it round.
Or try to. And Owen says, do you think some writers go down the same route as method actors, as in immersing themselves in a character? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who did it. Believe it or not, was Jules Verne. And he absorbed himself into Captain Nemo.
Wow.
He absorbed himself into Captain Nemo. And I'll tell you who else absorbed himself into. And I mentioned this last night. One character. And he absorbed himself right into it. But he also absorbed himself into another one as well. One was good. Well, the two of them was bad, to be honest. I'm sorry. The one wasn't good. Two of them were bad people. You know, but they were supposed to be, well, one was supposed to be good for the country. And he absorbed himself into Henry V. And that was Shakespeare himself. And he also absorbed himself because Shakespeare didn't know hate. And he didn't like, he hated sort of modern day snidey people. So he absorbed himself into one of the greatest Machiavellian villains of all time. And that was Iago and Othello. He absorbed himself because, you know, what would this fella think? What would this fella do? How mean could he be? Because of his jealousy. Because he wanted to be up there and he was overlooked by this general. So he was out for vengeance. So he absorbed himself. Yeah, it's a great question, great comment, because people do absorb themselves into. It's like me. I had to absorb myself when I was asked to write a poem about Halloween, and I said to Johan, send in a message to Jason, an email, so I can get your email, and then send yours off privately. But I'll send the two off. But it's like anything. Yeah, look, I was on a downer, I'm being honest. Just bear with me on this. I was going to read this, wasn't I? Blank paper.
Yeah.
Midnight, staring at blank paper, my mind devoid of thoughts, my eyes focused to the floor. The cat, curious, hissing and prowling. But this one, I won't read it all now. But this one was this one. I will finish off. I will finish it. I mean, like I haven't finished it. This is what I was just sitting there, feeling all sorry for myself and feeling isolated, really, because there was nothing. It was just blank. I got no phone calls, no nothing. Because I don't know what people are up to phone them. And maybe they don't want to talk to me. So I just leave it because they know what I'm doing, just sitting there. And I just wrote this: blasted into the wilderness, rain swept across to nowhere, head bowed in a God-forsaken place, cold, trudging through to oblivion, tormented as mind racing away as grief takes a hold. And that's where I stopped. Never finished it. Do you think I should finish that?
I think you should finish it, um, but it it's very much a a frame of mind,
It
and
is. I've got to get in that frame of mind again, you see.
you don't want to go down and feel that down again. But
Yeah, exactly.
you've got to, like Owen has made mention there, you're almost getting into character, which is not your normal character, because you're normally a happy, go lucky, friendly um, person, but things do put us in a place. Sometimes we're sad, and sometimes we're devastatingly crushed by life in general. But um, that's where I see the idea is like if you're getting on stage tonight, you're going to sing a song, play music, or tell a joke. Then you have to get into a place in there before you go on and do something.
Yeah,
Everyone does. Every actor will tell you. Any musician will tell you. Any you've done the public speaking for years, and there'll be times where you've got a gig and you really don't want to open up, give you give people the benefit of the experience. You don't want to do it, and then something triggers it, and you do it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I think that's how you need to get back into that. And then maybe printed in two versions.
You see, the lovely. Let me just go through these. Jason says, "I've lowered the tone, haven't I?" No, you haven't, Jay, mate.
No,
And Toscana says, "Would you finish off your poem as to how you're feeling now?"
there you go. There you go. It's a tough
Johan
one,
says,
and
Johan
only
says,
you.
Johan says, if you're out of it, let it be. Let the mercury throw down another day. You don't have to finish it if you don't feel like. That's a good one. And Toscana says, just as well I can't write poetry, that ends up top of myself.
Oh, you know what? And a big part of me thinks it as a unfinished symphony, but life is unfinished. And when in 400 years we get hit by the number 57 bus, it's unfinished.
Well, Jason says, you never let me comment before. And he says, if I did, there would be a sketch pad full of matchstick men and little knobs. Yeah, with little knobs on their heads. Yeah, I've lowered the tone. See, look, I'll finish up. That's what he says. Look, you missed the comment before that, mate. You'll see why I lowered the tone. And Anthony is a genius with words, says Toscana.
He is the genius. The teacher is the genius with words.
No, I'm going to read you. You know the way she says, can you finish it up?
Yes.
Now, anyway, just lay me on this. It's called light. Dragged into the depths of despair, running and hiding from reality. Nightmarish dreams forever hovering, a tormented soul of self-infliction. The psyche of one's mind steering itself into obscurity, thus being isolated from normality, opens an abyss of self-doubt. But you, yes you, my light, my disguised angel of purity, shining through the darkness, leading me out of despair. O celestial Saviour, from above, scribing loving words of true love.
Beautiful. Love is the answer.
See, so it's just a matter of, it's like what we were talking about, Anthony. It's like you. It's like you when we were talking about Dickens. And what was it when we finished talking about Dickens and then you sat down and relaxed? Your mind said, I've got to paint him.
Yeah.
I've got to paint him. You see, you can put it on canvas. I can't. The only thing I can put down is words on paper.
Tell me to. Do you know, you've been, what's the greatest thing that we can do, and you've done it often, the greatest gift that we can offer our friends and our loved ones, to say, come to ours, have a cup of tea and a cake or something to eat. It's that sharing thing. So I imagine when we're going through our dialogue, because we've talked about people who, quite frankly, you wouldn't want in your house. But those that we touched on, that I think I would love to sit imaginary table with you on one end, me on the other, and who would we put on it? And we go through it. It's not everyone we talk about, no, but someone tick all the boxes.
Just imagine putting our people on here, on our table.
Yeah.
And just sitting down, having a glass of wine, something to eat. Just nice nibbles, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Rather than overindulging with a glass of wine and just talking about different aspects of life.
Yeah. Yeah. Which would move us all. And that's what it does. That's what tonight does. That's what our lovely family of commentators do. It's we're moved on a bit. There's never been a show where we thought, well, nothing happened. No, never.
There's never been a show where everything has just fell flat. Ever. It's You see, I think when someone mentioned about, you think that authors and poets, absorb themselves into playwrights, absorb themselves into characters. They have to.
You have to. Well, it. How would that person get over that fence and walk down that street or do that thing? So you put yourself in them. You know, it's fascinating, and obviously there's a mental and scientific reason why we invent these scenarios in our head, and some come out as a two-line poem, and some come out as a, a five-verse song that will still be singing 50 years' time. Genius. It's genius.
And the two-line poem, the greatest of all. If any question why we died, tell them because our fathers lied.
Yeah.
Rudyard Kipling.
The most poignant, heartfelt, sorrowful.
And it's not a quote, it's a poem. It's a poem. And this is what he was thinking.
Yeah.
At the death of his son, who he blamed for sending him over where he should never have gone.
Yeah.
Owen Lee says, your writing is a therapy, an outpouring of your emotions, which is where the best writings come from, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not lovely.
That's spot on, Owen. Totally agree. It's your writing.
It's beautiful, that. And Johan says, Frank, the pictures you paint in our minds without even writing it down on these streams is an art form. It's in itself. Your stories here take us through scenarios like books used to.
Yeah. Absolutely right, Johan. Totally agree. It does. And that too is a genius.
Don't forget, Johan, just send an email to, the description here. You'll always get the email. And just send it, and I'll get your email. Jason will pass it on to me, you see. And I'll send you those poems. Send you them through. And Johan says, Johan, thumbs up. Well said. That's right. And Johan, and we get further context as well if we want to read up, because you always recommend stellar works of literature. Thank you. And that's what Anthony and myself are here for, because now, as I said about, the Gothic book, I'm giving Anthony the short stories. And I'm also giving him Christopher Dolly's ones with the likes of The Signalman in, and Mr. Loveday's Little Outing. Mr. Loveday's Little Outing is an incredible story. An incredible story, because I always look at titles. The likes of Wilfred Owen, Anthem for Doomed Youth. The title is so striking. The likes of Mr. Loveday's Little Outing is so striking.
Yeah.
And when you read the poem of Anthem for Doomed Youth, so powerful. So powerful. If you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch his white eyes riding in his face, his hanging face, like a devil sick of sin. If you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from froth corrupted lungs, my friend, you would not tell with such a zest to children ardent for some desperate glory, the old lie, dulce et decorum est, pro patria mori. That pro patria mori is how sweet it is to die for one's country. Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. And that was from a great Roman writer at the time about the Roman legions named Ovid, O-V-I-D. A great Roman writer.
No glory in war.
No, that's what he's saying. Yes, absolutely. No glory, no sweetness to die. You die a horrible death, as he says. If you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch his white eyes riding in his face, his hanging face, like a devil sick of sin. If you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from froth corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cud, of vile incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell with such a zest to children ardent for some desperate glory, the old lie, dulce et decorum est, pro patria mori. You see, that was to a fella by the name of Jesse, someone, a writer. You know, you mentioned comics before. This fella was writing about heroics in the war, in the First World War, for kids. But they were fictionalized. And, you know, because kids are desperate for some glory. You see, you know, some stories about heroes, and it's just like comics today. You know, about Captain Marvel and, you know, the Iron Man, these great, and they're only for kids until they started making films, you know, Superman, until they started making films of these superheroes for adults, young people and adults. Yeah. But kids, you know, we're all vulnerable. There's me reading Billy Bunter. There's George Shetley in The Flashman.
All of us as kids, we read something that we're hooked. So if we're reading, if the wrong stuff is put in front of kids.
But this is why the history of literature is so prevalent to today.
Yeah.
Now, look. Anthony, we're like a pair of, I've got to say it, we're like a pair of old fogies. And we're saying what we've been through. We've been looking at literature all our lives. We've been looking at the way literature has bounded from there to here, present day.
Yeah.
Every H.G. Wells. What a mind. What a mind he had.
Yeah.
He had a mind of the future. And he predicted the future.
Yeah.
Look at the time machine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The time machine.
Yeah.
I read the time machine years ago. And I'm reading it like that. This will never happen. This will never. But it's happening.
Yeah.
I was watching something last night. Was it today? I don't know when I was. And no, it couldn't have been today because he had my flu jab. And what it was this, I forget even the name of this telescope that is they've only launched it and it's going out and out and right out into deep space to get like a little, how can I put this? You know, the size of us here, you know, the two of us now. I'll try and do it. Hang on, I'll try and do it. And that's all space where we are now. The two of us, we're all space. The pair of us together, we're all space, deep space. And this thing has gone out to take a picture of one area. And that one area is no bigger. Now, don't forget, all this is space, yours as well, every part of it. And this one thing has gone out, and it's going to take a picture of an area which is billions of miles, millions, billions of square miles, or whatever they call it up there. And it's no bigger than that quotation mark, just a quotation mark. And that's the vastness of out there. And this is going to take. So around this like little thing here, this little quotation mark, there are billions of stars and other planetary systems. You see? So these are what these are writing about now. What they're writing about.
Yeah.
The vastness.
We can't imagine.
No.
Day-to-day little existence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they could. The likes of Jules Verne.
Yeah.
The likes of H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells, my God, yeah.
You know, you got to bring George Orwell. And he was seeing the future in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
Which is bloody happening in the 21st century now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because we only lost him 1950, didn't we?
Oh.
He could still be here.
Yes.
If it wasn't for tuberculosis.
Yes.
Which has taken so many of our...
John Keats.
Yeah.
Keats, you know, I love him.
Yeah.
24 years of age it took him. Tuberculosis. Imagine what he could have written. He could have written if he lived to the age of like 40.
Yeah.
And he was a man of letters.
No, I know.
A man of letters. He said the greatest quote of all time. The greatest love quote of all time. When he said to his lovely girlfriend as he was dying, you know, because he used to go for walks and then come back exhausted and lie on his bed and think, then get up and write. And he wrote this: I have two luxuries on my walks. To have your beauty at the hour of my death. Oh, to have them both.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
To improve on that.
No. The tragedy and the poignancy of that, which is there's something that echoes through a lot of who we term as the great, you know, and it underlines the fact that it's not about greed or seeking wealth or seeking power or seeking something that no one else can ever have. It's just about being true, honest, putting it out there.
Do you know what? I hate to say this to you. I hope you forgive me what I'm going to say. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Will you come on with me tomorrow night?
What are you doing tomorrow? It's Thursday.
More or less the same.
Okay. No, I would come on with you to number 37 bus in the middle of the Sahara Desert. I'd be on with you. But if we're gonna do it, we are gonna do it. Then we bring in the items of
That we should have done tonight.
yeah, my last Duchess,
Got to do that.
Robert Browning, the John
Yes.
Keats,
Got to do that.
the blank paper,
Yes. And also, we've got to bring in HG. We have to.
HG, yeah,
And William Blake.
William Blake, always William Blake.
Is
Wow,
that okay with you?
that's fantastic.
And these lovely people.
Yeah,
These lovely people.
beautiful company.
Imagine, you know, Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde said one of the greatest quotes ever, and it's about greed, really, when you look deeply at it. And he said, I can resist anything except temptation. You know, you've only got to look at today and the corruption that's going on.
Yeah,
And that corruption is money. Money. I don't like saying this. I really don't. I don't want to stand on anyone's toes. Um, but you, you get others. You get other, like, certain podcasts that are asking you for money. There's a fella on, and he said, I used to be a journalist and I don't want to I want my own narrative. I don't want to twist the truth. My journalism with this Western press thing, you know. But I already know he's not telling me anything new. He's not telling you anything new, if you know what I mean. But he's saying, would you sponsor me? No disrespect to the man. If he gets sponsored, that's fine. I'd really like it to, you know, but he had to donate everyone who watches him. You see?
yeah.
And I don't like that.
No, I don't
I
like that.
don't ask for anything of anybody. I want to say something Webb. No, not Harry Webb, Cliff Richards. Yeah, it is. No, it's something else, you know, Owen. Honestly, it's something else. This thing I was watching, it's gone out into deep space. Anyway, Johan says 2001, a space odyssey predicted biometric and voice recognition. It's all laughed at until it becomes a reality.
Reality. Yeah,
But you've only
yeah,
got to look at the ID, the digital ID that they want to come out.
yeah, yeah.
And that digital ID, I'll tell you what it's for. So, well, one part of it. You know the way people like fall in debt and they
Yeah,
won't pay it. And if you've got a bank account, they'll freeze that.
yeah.
And they'll ask you, are you going to pay that within 48 hours through your bank? And if you say yeah and you don't, they will freeze your account and they will take that amount to pay off the debt. What right do they have?
This going back to George Orwell.
George Orwell.
This was his big. Someone asked him, "What is your biggest fear for the future?" And he said that totalitarianism and governments will restrict our way of life so that we can't go anywhere, do anything, say anything without their say so or consequence. That was in 1950.
Imagine this. Like, it's being fizzled out now, and that's paper money.
Yeah.
Paper money. Now, would you rather have paper money or just that card?
Oh, paper money. Paper money, it divides. I mean, in a local community, you got paper money. You walk to the greengrocers, the news agents. You buy your papers, your magazines. You pay. Money makes us go round. We're not corporate conglomerates. We're not shareholders and investment companies. We're just people get through life. Buy a loaf of bread, pint of milk. No.
Exactly. Oh, our lovely Toscana's left us. Grazie, Franco, Anthony, and chat. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you. My son has great timing and has phoned me up. Well,
Oh,
of course, Toscana.
beautiful.
Normally we would have finished by now. Anyway, so. And you know what? Certain channels only read out chats if you send it only. If you sent it out, yeah, they have. They do. They do. All right, if you're a football channel, but if you consider yourself a journalist and do that, that's going against the core of journalism. Great
You're,
comment.
you're a historic journalist.
See, one of our lads, I'll never forget him. It's vlogs. It's the vlogs that comes on.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, "Can I donate something to you? You know, we can donate." I said, "No, I don't want anything. I don't want anything off of anybody because I don't consider myself, and I don't consider you either. Don't consider Jason, as just us. If you know, I consider all of us because it's everybody's show. It's every chat that's read out.
Yeah.
Every chat that's read out, which need reading out because if you don't read the chat, we go off on tangents, don't we?
Yeah.
And, by reading out the chats, which are great. It's like that girl who said about that writer.
Yeah, the American author, McCarthy.
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
No, I hadn't.
And yeah, he must have wrote a book, No Country for Old Men. Yeah, it's one of my favourite films. I just think it's an absolutely brilliant film. So, we need paper money because chippies only take cash now.
is enough reason, Owen. Yeah, but that's my point. There's people who run their shops who are just like us, you know.
But when I went to get me thing jab,
Job, yeah,
and I went up to the market, I seen a pair of I forget what they were, like boots. I'm not sure. Hiking boots, sort of them things. Really good. Solid, strong, and looked nice as well. But they didn't take the card. I never had any cash on with me. So I couldn't buy them. Francine didn't have any. So it's things that restrict. I didn't expect to buy anything. I'm being honest, but seeing these things, I said, "Oh, I like them." Felt them, solid. Said to Francine, "What you think of them?" She said, "They're lovely, them, Dad." It's only to help me walk. Know what I mean?
yeah. Do you know what? There's something visual about it as well. It's like going back when we first started to work, and all of us, and you're given your wage packet at the Friday or the end of the month or whatever. So there's that for your mum and dad for keep or whatever. Then there's that, and it's a visual. So
Yeah,
you work your fingers to the bone doing whatever we do, and then that's like you can see it, you feel it. When it all started to go up, you've got to set up a bank account or go in there now, and so you don't see anything now.
no, no. So that's it. It's only what only says we need paper money because chippies only take cash now.
Yeah,
We need paper.
yeah.
We'll all be starving because chippies only want paper money.
Got 16 credit cards, but the chippy won't take up.
What do you think of the comments tonight?
I thought they were fantastic, absolutely on it, wonderful.
Do you know what though? We say this every night, don't we? There's never a night goes by without any ridiculous comments
No,
and no snidey comments.
no, no. We don't need that. We don't need that in life, do you?
No, certainly don't. So, do you know what I said to one of my mates? He's no longer with us now. He said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh," I said, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" He said, "Like tonight." He said, "You're not writing any of that poetry I've been hearing about." This is the Macbeth lot. When I said I'm going to see Macbeth, bring him
Yeah,
along, you'll be all right.
yeah.
And then they asked, "Where's that fella? That Mac fella you wanted? Where is he?" I said, "Oh, we couldn't come."
Got my bevy in and everything there's gone flat.
But they were lovely people. Most of them have gone now, but they were lovely people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I
Lovely.
do.
Never
I,
in trouble with the police, no nothing. Yet they were tough fellas. Really tough fellas.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing.
So go on.
All I was going to say, it's not a heavy one. It's not religion. It's just that. But life is such a short trip, and we sideline ourselves by spending time with ourselves that don't deserve your time. And
That's sad, isn't it?
it is sad, but it's everyone's life at different times all over the world. And then the bottom line is the difference is seen when you spend an evening in gentler company, as we have been lucky enough to do on here tonight. and every time we're on. Makes a world of difference.
Yes. Yes, of course. And Owen says, my daughters pay with their watch.
Yeah, mine with the phones. I can never get me, you know.
I've got us on my phone. And I remember going shopping a few weeks ago with Francine. And I went, oh no. Going up to Sainsbury's, driving up there. And I went, Francine, I said, I forgot my card. And she said, shut up, Dad. I said, I forgot my card. Won't be able to get anything. And she went, it's on your watch. It's on your phone.
Your
I said,
phone.
what is? She said, your card. And she put us on. I had a clue. I just haven't a clue.
Well, you know what? I don't. If it's on the watches on the phones, that's all great. But I still feel comfortable with a few quid in my pocket to go. I would be embarrassed if you and I were in the hole in the wall. We're having our drinks, and then I'm trying to find something on the phone or whatever. I just you go, love, and yourself.
I'd be washing the glasses all night. I wouldn't be able to find it. It's on my phone. Yeah, there's a loads of glasses there. I'll go and wash them. And wash the dishes upstairs as well. And when you finish them, come down and scrub the floors. All right, boss. And Johan, the banks don't even have the amount in holding that the customers have in their in
No.
their account. If everyone withdrew their account at once, they'd be unable to do the transaction. It's
Yeah.
a bubble.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
I know. And the first thing you think of when you read stuff like that is oh well, he was saying,
yeah,
come on.
yeah. Yeah, look at this fella, Goots. That's all no Goots. Interesting, says Goots. Hello, Goots. That's do me a favour, Goose. Like and subscribe to get me algorithm up there, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, that is. And Karen says, I love these chats. Cash is king. It is, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Do you
Yeah.
know what I always remember? It was a Boxing Day. Right. And I was like that. I was saying, oh, I'll have to borrow some money off my grandmother. Right. So I'll have to borrow. And I was getting ready, and I was, worrying, perspiring. I was going, oh, I'm going to ask her, if she says no, I'm doomed. Boxing night. And I went in, and I went, so I got my coat on, I had my tie on, shirt and tie, had my waistcoat on, went in, got my coat, put it on. And I went, I've got to ask her. Taking deep breaths to go in, and ask my grandmother for some money. And I was with a fella, this is genuine, an old school friend from school. And at the age of 16, he said to me, do you want to go to Jersey to work? I said, no. I used to go to Grafton with him when we were 14.
Oh.
Go not the Grafton, the Locarno, on a Monday night. He said, oh, I said, no. I said, no, I can't, college and all that. So anyway, he went, and I hadn't seen him. No, that was 16. He went over to Jersey. he ended up in Monaco,
Wow.
right? So, and I seen him on the Christmas Eve when I was about 26, something like that. 25, 20, 24, 25, 26, something like that.
10 years
And I
old.
was talking, I said, all right, Jack, clouds on. And he said, you haven't shit. I said, you haven't shit. I said, you look up. I said, have you been away? Because he had this tan. Had a cracking tan. Not a big dark thing, but, a lovely tan, nice and healthy. And he said, I live in Monaco now. I said, go away. He said, yeah. And he told me that where he was working in a bar in Jersey as a 17 and a half or 18-year-old, this lady used to come in, an old lady, sat at the corner of the bar and always had a drink. And he always served her. And he was very, you know, no matter how you look, us scouters are polite to people, aren't we? And and Jackie was very polite. Charlie was, handsome dog he was. And she asked him. She said, "Would you like to go and live in Monaco and become not a companion, but someone to look after, not the property, but to look after, just to be there, like a protector."
Yeah.
And she got this young girl. She was an American, and she got this young girl, an American, as a companion to live in the house.
Oh.
And the house was. You can imagine and he said a big house in Monaco. So you can imagine the money. Anyway, the old lady died and left everything to them.
Wow.
And he went like that. He said, "I've got to go." Never. I'll tell you where I was. I was in the Empire. I was in the Empire. And not the Empire Theatre, the Empire in town.
The boozer.
Yeah. And he said, he always called me Francis. He said, "Yeah, Francis, get a drink." And he put it in the top pocket there. I said, "Oh," he said, "Get a drink." He said, "Have a drink on me." This is on Christmas Eve. So anyway, you enjoy yourself. So we goes in for me coat. Wait, got to wash me crumpled. Perspiring and everything. So, I knew she would have given me it, but, it's the growling, it's the crawling, it's everything, And
Dishwashing.
so anyway, I went, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I went, but I seen me Yankee, and I went, I'll have to change that. Honest. Like that. Pulled it out. I was rich.
Wow.
And in the Yankee, like where your Yankee sticking out, he put this money. And he said, "Get a drink." Forgot all about it. Do you know how much was there? 200 quid.
Oh,
I've still got 175 left. When I was 25, no. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I walked in and she said, "Oh, you look $1 million." And I went, "Thanks." She said, "And you're asking for any money?" And I went, "No more ice." "Where have you got the money from?" I said, I'm explaining. I said, "How much you had?" Like, absolutely amazing. So they're the good things in life that turn up so unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daryl says, Frankie, Anthony. And Daryl says, nice haircut, Anthony.
Needed doing. Thanks, Daryl.
Mine on Saturday, by the way. My little box was getting cut. Well, Anthony, tomorrow night, hope to have some lively people with us again.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we will, even if it's the people saying, them two can't still be talking. But we can.
Owen says, when I hear about Monaco, my mum was there and saw Elton John fall, arse over tits, walking off a gangplank.
Poetry in motion.
Jared was telling me once, women as kids, wife obviously, and they used to go away with Anne's, sister and her fella, and he said they were going. They had to walk on this gangplank. They had to walk on this gangplank, onto this little boat, because they were ferrying them over to this island, and they didn't know that they had to get a little mad boat, to ferry them across. And they were waiting there, and they were expecting a big line. He said this little mad boat came along, and it was this gangplank. And anyway, he said, and Sammy, Sammy's no longer with us, unfortunately. He said he gets cases under here. He's like that. It's like Popeye, he said. And he said, he said, I'll be all right, don't be worried. And I've walked on these loads of times. He said he walked around the gangplank with like that. Went in with all the cases. And they fished them out. And what there was all around, was like seaweed or something. He said, but it was like moss. It was like moss and oil, and everything came up. The cases were floating on the thing. He said, there's life that's murder with him. Yeah, so that reminded me what Owen said. And our kids were selling, but our kid's funny, when he's saying these mad things. He says, you should have seen the gob on him. Oh, fantastic. And the lovely Karen. That's a great story. Wish someone would shove £200 in my pocket. And I'm going back to the 70s, Karen. I was a millionaire. I was a millionaire. 200 quid. I think it was a bit more, to be honest. But anyway, Anthony, I've kept you on too long. Do you know, we've been on for 3 hours,
Oh. Didn't feel like that.
Have you watched Pay the Ghost yet?
No, I've got it lined up. We're going to watch it the weekend. Put it on Friday night, probably. Yeah.
People, watch Pay the Ghost. Nicolas Cage, you'll get it on YouTube. Fantastic film. Fantastic. And on that wonderful note from the lovely Karen Kariakou, who have we got to thank, Anthony?
Well, we've in our list of Oscars, first one will go to Mr. Andy Gamble and all of the team. And then
the Gap, Gap Painting Services for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show. Go on.
And then our Jason.
Yes.
Who was with us as a chatter tonight, which is lovely.
Yes.
And then our beautiful chat family who make us cross the road and turn a different direction. Happily.
Every night.
Every night, every turn.
Every night.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, hang on a minute, just do a right down here, all right, drivers, do a right, we're off on a tangent.
Just reverse past that, but yeah, there we are, we'll go there. And that's what happens.
We were talking about deep space and everything.
We love it.
Incredible. And Johan says, thank you, Frank Anthony Legends, for a brilliant show as usual. Have a good night, everyone. See you, Legends, tomorrow for another literature show. And there's 4 scotches.
We will. Oh, Johan, thank you. But we're going to keep to our own script for at least the first
5 minutes.
And then
it's a free for all.
Yeah.
It's a free for all. And on that wonderful note, as Lowen says, thank you all and good night.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And as Anthony says, without you lot, without all the wonderful chatters, without all the wonderful comments, there'd be no show. There'd be nothing. You are the stars. Not me, not Anthony, not Jason. It's you. Thank you so much. And on that wonderful note, as the Italians would say, ci vediamo. A tutti. Ciao bella. Good night.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.